Hey guys, hope you've been well. Today I'm going to be doing a review of the Streamlight TLR-2G, G for green laser, and also sharing some other pretty cool news that's happened to me. Well, I think it's cool anyways, and you guys might as well. But first I'll do this little intro thing. So yeah, I'll get to the review in just a second, but how I got this light is through this company that I'm sure you've heard of because I've ordered dozens of things from them over the years, Optics Planet. So Optics Planet recently reached out to me and offered me a chance to be a part of their like brand ambassador program. And basically what it means is they thought my videos were okay and they're going to send me free stuff. And the really cool thing about that is it's stuff that I choose. So they're not trying to push product on me or anything like that because obviously I'm not that interested in like, 3 to 9x scopes because I don't use that stuff that much. But I am interested in lights, knives, all that other good stuff that they carry, some optics as well. So I'm kind of like a small fish in their program because I don't have a ton of subscribers, but you guys could tell all your friends and try and get me more subscribers, and then I'll be like a big fish and I'll get more stuff. But for now, I'm just kind of like a intro level. They have like a pretty small budget for me to send me gear. And this was one of the first things I wanted. So it kind of gives me an opportunity to get gear that I wouldn't otherwise be able to afford or purchase, or maybe I would, but not as much of it obviously because I have my own budgetary confinements. But Optics Planet, they gave me a coupon code also for my subscribers. It's LLOD5, and it gets you 5% off of anything. I'll put it like down here somewhere. And also I have these links to products that I'll be reviewing. And I don't get any kind of affiliate money, so I don't get actual monetary compensation for you guys clicking the links or anything like that. But it does let Optics Planet know that I am a valuable brand ambassador. So if you like my videos and you want to help support the channel via buying gear that you would have normally bought, try and use the links that I'll put down in the video description below. Use my coupon code on their site, obviously, to get discounts. And the more people use those links, the more Optics Planet will be like, oh, okay, well, maybe this guy does have somewhat of an impact, or his subscribers actually buy stuff once in a while, and they may increase my budget and I'll be able to get more cool stuff to review for you guys. So, it kind of helps me because I get more cool stuff, and it helps you guys because I have more stuff to review for you. And that's Optics Planet. I had a few phone calls with them, and they're awesome, really flexible, really easy program. And the awesome thing about it is just that it's gear that I want to use. It's gear that I want to test. It's gear that I want to review. So I'm not going to be pushing like random crap just because Optics Planet wanted me to. It's all stuff that I pretty much request from them. And I say, hey, I'm interested in such and such. Is there a chance you could get that in my hands? And they say yes, or they say, yeah, maybe later, or they say no, or whatever. But I'm just starting out, so I'm not sure all the stuff that I'll be able to get, but maybe some cool stuff. All right, and let's get into the review. All right, so here we have it, is the Streamlight TLR-2G, and you've heard me talk about Streamlights in my other videos before, just about their manipulation. This is on Glock 17, fairly tricked out, obviously, but the controls I love on the Streamlights more than any other light. And you probably saw my review of the Surefire XC1, which is what I carry on my everyday carry gun. And I commend, one of my favorite things about it is the controls on it, these little paddle controls that you push down for momentary on. So on the Surefire XC1, you push down on both sides, but you can't really get to a constant on without your support hand pushing this through. So if I just had my strong hand, there's no way for me to trigger the constant on. And that's a huge thing for some people. Honestly, not a huge thing for me because I find more value in momentary. But that is solved, not solved because Streamlights had these controls forever, but solved in a sense with the Streamlight TLR 1, 2, 3, 4 models. Same way here, you push down on this paddle for momentary on, and the paddle is just gigantic, easy to find, and intuitive, and I love it. It's my favorite controls. Up for constant on, and then support side or strong side, down for constant on, and then up for momentary. This model, the TLR-2G, as well as the TLR-1S, has a strobe function. So you just tap this twice and you get into strobe. It's really nice and intuitive. You don't have to flip any switches or anything. And it's good because if you're scanning a hallway or whatever and you're just going momentary, you can do momentary pretty quick without triggering strobe. You have to do it fairly quick to get into strobe. So it's not something you'll probably do accidentally, but pretty easy to get to whenever you want to. So the TLR-2G, the G stands for green laser. So this model does have, it's essentially a TLR-1S, 300 lumens out of the light, and it has a green laser underneath. The green laser is controlled with the same manipulation that the light is controlled, and this little toggle switch back here controls whether you want light only, laser and light, or just laser. So that's not really going to get hit unintentionally, but it's fairly easy to access intentionally when you want to switch the mode. I use it on light and laser all the time. So the TLR-2G, it's a larger light. It's 2 CR123s, and it's fatter than obviously an XC1, and it's fatter than something like an Inforce APL as well. However, I see these things faulted a lot for being so fat. They're so fat, but then these same people are running around using the X300s. So the X300 is also a 2CR123 light, and it is the exact same width as a TLR, but longer. So people that are complaining about the Streamlights, how big they are and everything, I don't know what they're talking about, because this is the width of a Surefire X300. Looks like it is 36 millimeters, and it is exactly the same as the TLR. So anyways, just a small aside note there. The TLRs are the exact same width as the Surefire X300s or X300 Ultras, however they are shorter. And the TLRs, they have a handful of models. This is the G, like I mentioned, 300 lumen output. They have an HL version, they have an S version, HL being high lumen, S being strobe. They have regular TLR2 with a red laser, TLR2G, they have all kinds of models. Anyways, they are a just more budget-minded option to the Surefire lights, and Surefires are kind of arguably the most bomb-proof. However, Streamlights are very incredibly durable as well. Aluminum casings, unlike Inforce plastic things or your Crimson Trace or whatever plastic. Some Streamlight models are plastic too, but the 2s and the 1s are aluminum. So super rugged, just like your Surefires. And I really like the G model because the TLR-2G model rather, because of the laser. Now this is my home defense setup right here, and even though I'm not a big laser guy myself, I don't care about having a laser on my carry gun. If I lived alone, I might not care as much about having a laser on my gun. However, this being my bedside gun, I also always have my Glock 19 bedside because I always have it on my body except for when I'm sleeping. But this is kind of like my dedicated home defense gun. And the laser is great because home defense scenario, if I ever use my gun, which, you know, obviously I hope I never have to, it will be probably at nighttime. And you know, potentially whoever is breaking into my house could have cut my power, so it will be a dark environment. I may be groggy from being freaking asleep, obviously, and I might not be able to acquire my sights as easily. This one's obviously equipped with an RMR, and that'll help some, but if I didn't have an RMR, then the laser helps me see where I'm pointed. Obviously, that's the whole point of a laser. And now this whole, you know, height over bore issue and stuff, that if you're shooting at 100 yards, obviously your laser will be off. However, in the close confinements of a home, I don't really have to worry about that issue. And the other huge advantage of having a laser on my gun is for my wife. say we have a home invader and I get my Glock 19 and I hand her this gun, and my wife, well, not obviously, but she's not as good of a shooter as I am. She's not as comfortable with guns as I am. And having that laser on it kind of just makes it stupid simple. As long as you have a decent grip and trigger squeeze, you put the laser on the target and that's where you're going to hit. That is extremely beneficial if you have somebody that may access this gun, and they'll need to use it in a defensive manner, that isn't, super operator status and super skilled with guns. They have the laser to aid them. But even if you are super operator status, you may be tired, you may not have your contacts in, you may not have your glasses on, you may just have some sleep in your eye, you may be in some kind of adverse scenario, peeking around a corner, not able to pick up your sights perfectly. Laser could be hugely beneficial for a home defense scenario. So that's why I chose this model to have as my home defense gun rather than just a straight up light version. This adds hardly any bulk, it has hardly any weight, and you get a little bit of extra versatility in there. So the TLR-2G, a great option for a home defense weapon. If you're going to carry this, I would have no problem carrying the G version over the standard version, and I would way rather carry this than the X300. I'll show you some length differences. Like I've mentioned in some of my videos, a lot of people carry X300's appendix, and that's crazy to me. Could I do it? Yeah. Would I want to? Not at all. Because the length of this light is going in the most unideal place for appendix carries. You're jabbing right into your thigh if you're carrying around the 12 to 1 o'clock. If you're carrying it straight up 12 o'clock, then it's jamming into some other things that need all the room they can get down there. So I don't like big, long lights on my carry piece, but a lot of people do. And if they're carrying an X300, might as well carry something with a laser. Now they do sell the X400, and that's like, I don't know, $17,000 or something like that. So the TLR-2G is a much more manageable price point for getting all of the crazy functionality of that. So it's 300 lumens, so it's no slouch in the light department, and it has a green laser. So it is awesome. For the most part, this has a pretty good spot. So it has pretty good throw, which, I don't care about so much for a home defense scenario. However, depending on the size of your house or whatever, depending on how much you want to blind somebody in the eyeballs with your strobe, the brighter hot spot can be advantageous. And it still has a pretty good spill, so it will still illuminate, to the sides pretty good as well. It's kind of more, the output is more like the X300 than it would be like the Surefire XC1. So on the underside of the light, here and here are the adjustments for the laser. This is the switch on the back of the gun. Let me try and get my focus in here. So this is a little toggle switch that toggles light and laser on the far right, just light in the middle, and just laser on the left side. I think I had that right. And the mounting mechanism on this is a screw. So Surefire actually just on their X300s recently moved to the screw mount as well. So this is actually nice because it's got these little raised knobs. I don't know if you can see it, but they're raised so you can get this with your fingernails and tighten it right up. The other really great thing about Streamlights that Surefires are lacking is that this is spring loaded. So I have this unscrewed all the way, but it's still on the gun. It's still super secure. So you have to push this through, and then that gets off. So you can see the mechanism here. Let me try and get focus on this again. There's a little screw or a little spring in there that keeps this thing closed. As with all Streamlights, or the TLR 1 through 4s anyways, you can get interchangeable little, I don't even know what these are called, little lip ledges things. These go into the notch or Picatinny rails or anything. So they're adjustable. That comes with a handful of these to fit various guns. It comes standard with the Glock model because, Glocks are the most popular, most common gun. So goes right on there. Nice. you have something like the X300, which is a great light. So I'm not trying to bash the X300 by any means. But you unscrew this in a similar fashion, and it doesn't stay on there. You put it on, and then you have to screw it on the other side. And this you can do by hand because there are little notches there, but not quite as good as the Streamlight system, I think. So yeah, and you can see the length difference of the X300 versus the Streamlight here. And then you have a smaller light, something like an Inforce, which I kind of wouldn't even put in the same category quite. Great lights also, but just kind of a different light. And then here we have it on a Glock 19. This is actually a new 19 I just picked up. It's the MOS edition, so you can change different optics plates on here. And I'm really excited because I don't really have many stock Glocks, and for whatever reason I'm really excited about having a stock one. So yeah, that's how it looks on a Glock 19. Extends out, but you know, fits fairly well. All right, so here we go with the TLR-2G. See, it's a nice pattern. Pretty hot spot, but still pretty good spill. It is a little more blue than the other lights I'm going to show you. So TLR-2G, 300 lumen. This is the Surefire X300U. I believe 600 lumens for this model. Now we have an Inforce. So this is 200 lumens. And the Streamlight TLR-2G. Inforce, APL, TLR-2G. And now we have the Surefire XC1, which is really a green light. Well, not green, it's white, but kind of a greenish tint to it. And TLR-2G. And now I have the Viridian C5L, which has probably the worst beam of them all. Streamlight TLR-2G. So if you were wondering about my funky nails, which you may not have been, is because we were working on this project this weekend, doing this like rustic looking wall in our sunroom. So this is all some wood I found on the property, and then a bunch of like fence posts and stuff that we messed around with our hands to make them look like these kind of like rustic barnwood type things. So we did a lot of that this weekend, and that's why my fingers are all gothic. Here's my wife making chocolate in this like thing. It's called a chocolate temper. My wife makes and sells custom chocolates. Hey buddy.
Does that mean go?
Yeah.
As always, thank you for liking and subscribing and all that other good stuff.
And also a big thanks to Optics Planet. Again, I'll put some links in the description, so if you're interested in this light or anything else, use my links in my video description, and that'll help a lot. Thanks.